That is spiritual life. In the material world, everything becomes old. With each passing day, with each passing year, everyone is coming nearer to death. But in Krishna consciousness, with each passing day and each passing year, we can become Krishna conscious. We can become closer to Krishna. But in the spiritual world, everything becomes newer and newer. That is Krishna consciousness. You never feel old, you never feel tired. That is spiritual life. And what is the evidence? The evidence is in the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. In Srimad Bhagavatam, when the sages assembled, so many sages assembled, and what was the purpose of their assembly? The purpose of their assembly was to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. And with what commitment they have entered to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, which they are speaking themselves, which we will see here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is from the first canto, first chapter, and the 10th verse. Manoram Prabhu, you can resume your service. This is Vayam Tuna Vitrapyama Yad Uttam Shloka Vikrame. One moment, I'll tell you the verse number. One 19. Yes, very good. Thank you. When Sāci-Sutā Goswami started to speak Srimad Bhagavatam, before he started, the great number of sages assembled there, 88,000. So what is their feeling? What is their emotion they are expressing? Vayam tu na vitrapyama uttam shloka vikrame yashranvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. This verse we should all memorize. Those who actually want to receive the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigam kalp tarur galitam phalam shukh mukhad amrit davya samritam. So we are never tired of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and praise. Uttam shloka vikrame. Those who have developed taste for transcendental relationship, this is very important. What is our hearing and chanting? The purpose is to develop transcendental relationship. One who has developed a taste for transcendental relationship with him, with Uttam Shloka Vikrame, the Supreme Personality, relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. Every moment. Swadu Swadu. Swadu means which is very relishable and which is very palatable. That Shukh Mukhad Amrit Davya Samhitam. So we will start the 10th chapter. Very important is the 10th chapter. You can minimize the very beautiful purport. You can read because time is short. And we want to begin this 10th chapter. The 10th chapter is entitled Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. For any and every situation or trouble in this material world, in material existence, anyone has any question, any query, any doubt, it can be precisely and perfectly answered by Srimad Bhagavatam. And who is claiming this? Who is giving this declaration? Srila Prabhupada. What is the greatest contribution of Srila Prabhupada, if I may ask all of you? What is the greatest contribution of Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada has given this world many, many contributions. But what is the most outstanding contribution of Srila Prabhupada? You are all in the Srila Prabhupada's movement. What is the foremost contribution of our founder Acharya? Pradeep?
Srila Prabhupada purports flow.
Still not precise. Yes, Pranav? What is the greatest contribution of His Divine Grace? A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I also wanted to say this purport also.
Precisely, he always Srila Prabhupada emphasized that his mission, that was the instruction given to him by his spiritual master, to make Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedic literature available to the English-speaking people of the world. Srila Prabhupada's presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Prabhupada was traveling to America, one reporter asked him that, Swamiji, I heard that you are going to America. And what did Srila Prabhupada reply? Anyone knows what was Srila Prabhupada's reply? Yes, Sonika.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Srila Prabhupada replied, I am not going to America. Srimad Bhagavatam is taking me to America.
Yeah, yes. Srila Prabhupada said, Srimad Bhagavatam is going to America and I am traveling as a servant of Srimad Bhagavatam. So the greatest contribution of Srila Prabhupada is presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam to the English-speaking world. If Srila Prabhupada would not have translated Srimad Bhagavatam in English, then no one outside India would have ever known about Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam has 10 topics. Bhagavad Gita has how many topics? How many topics are there in Bhagavad Gita? मानिनी माता जी, अभी आप बाहर हैं क्या? घर में बैठ के फिर वीडियो क्यों ऑफ कर रखा है? कितने, how many topic subject matters are there in Bhagavad Gita?
5 topics.
Srimad Bhagavatam has 10. And those topics, the 10 topics or the 10 subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam will be discussed in this 10th chapter. Very, very important chapter. So let us begin this chapter. This is continuation of conversation between Lord Brahma and Naradji. So Shukadeva Goswami is speaking after the Supreme Lord appeared and spoke the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam to Brahmaji. And Brahmaji is giving the same knowledge, the same realization of Srimad Bhagavatam which he has received in his heart from Lord Krishna. He has passed it on to Narad Muni. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manumantara Yeshanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashraya. This is the verse to memorize. Let us all attempt. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manavantara Eshanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashraya. Repeat, over repeat. Recite.
हरे
Quickly.
कृष्ण प्रभुजी।
बोलिए. Recite.
श्रीशुक उवाच अत्र सर्गो विसर्गश्च स्थानं पोषणम् उत
Utaya.
उतयः।
Utaya.
अत्र सर्गो विसर्गश्च स्थानं पोषणम् उतयः मन्वन्तरेशानुकथा निरोधो मुक्तिराश्रय।
Very good. So these are 10 topics Sukadeva Goswami is explaining. First is Sarga. Atra means here, in. Where? In Srimad Bhagavatam. What is mentioned? First is Sarga. Sarga means creation. The Prabhupada statement of the creation of this universe. So when there is creation of this universe, there are creation of 16 elements. So who does the creation? It is done by the Purusha avatars, the 3 Vishnu forms. So it talks about creation, and that is there described predominantly in the 3rd canto, also some parts of it in the 2nd canto. So the primary creation is done by the Supreme Lord, Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Purusha avatars, the 3 Vishnus. And after the primary creation has been done, who takes over? It is called Visarga. First is Sarga, it is the primary creation, and Visarga means the secondary creation, or it is also called the sub-creation. Who does the sub-creation? Yes, Ramya?
Lord Brahma, Prabhuji.
Yes, Brahmaji. So Brahmaji takes these 16 elements which has manifested from the Supreme Lord, and with this 16 element, he begins the process of sub-creation so that the living entities can come into the universes. So that is the second aspect. Then there is sthanam. Sthanam means the planetary system, or it also means the place. 1 minute, let me share. Why it is not sharing? Can you see? Sthanam or sthiti. It is the right environment, the right condition for the living entity. So that is the sthanam. Sthanam includes all the universal creation, the planetary systems. And then the 4th topic is Poshanam. Poshanam means maintenance, and Poshanam also means protection. So after creation, what is required is maintenance. This is the 4th topic. And the 5th topic is, it is called Utaya or Uti. Uti or Utaya. So, Shri Shukha Uvacha Atra Sarga Visarga Cha Atra Sarga Visarga Cha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya. So, Utaya means the motivation or impetus for any activity, or it is called the creative impetus. So before we perform any activity, so what motivates us to perform the activity? There is some impetus. So that impetus is called Utaya. And the next one, the 6th one, is Manavantaraha. So in a day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. And all the 14 Manus, they keep rotating. So it is Manvantara, the change of Manus. And then the next seventh is Ishanukatha. Isha means the Supreme Lord. So Ishanukatha, it is the science of God. And then the next topic is Nirodha. This is the eighth topic. Nirodha means winding up. When the jiva will wind up, when his subtle body has been completely purified. So Nirodha means going back home, back to Godhead. That is the eighth topic. And the ninth topic is Mukti, which means liberation. Today I read something very, very interesting and very relevant. Let me see if I can share with you. That actually what it means, Mukti. Very beautiful definition. Mukti means liberation, and liberation is the permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable gross and subtle material body. Gives up means that he is situated in knowledge, so he has become detached, completely detached from both, from gross and subtle material bodies. That is liberation or mukti. And the 10th topic is called the ashraya, or the shelter. Prabhupada very beautifully, he coins it as samam bonam. This is the supreme shelter, ashraya. Okay. So we'll recite one more time. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atra Sargo Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Utaya Manvantara Ishanu Katha. I didn't explain Ishanu Katha. Manmantra, then Ishanu Katha. Ishanu Katha is the science of God. Like we have the science of soul, so also there is the science of the Supreme Lord. Manvantara Ishanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashraya. Who would like to recite? Recite 3-4 times. Those who have not recited. Recite, unmute and recite.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजे
Hare Krishna.
श्रीशुक उवाच अत्र सर्ग विसर्गश्च स्थानं पोषणम् ऊतय मन्वन्तर ईशानं कथय निरोधमुक्तिराश्रय.
Very good. Others? Someone else?
श्रीशुक उवाच हरे कृष्ण
Yes, Manini Mataji, go ahead.
अत्र सर्गो विसर्गश्च स्थानं पोषणम् ऊतय मन्वन्तरेशानो कथा निरोधमुक्तिराश्रय.
Very good. Yes, recite. Others?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Tishuka uvacha atra sargo visargascha sthanam poshanam uttaya manvantara isanu katha nirodha muktir ashraya.
Okay. So Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, Atra is in this Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statements or 10 topics regarding the following. What are these topics? First is Yatra Sarga. Sarga means creation of the universe. Then next topic is Visarga, which is called the sub-creation. Third is Sthanam, planetary system. Fourth is Poshanam, or it is called the maintenance. Who does the maintenance? Mahavishnu. Then Utaya. Utaya is the creative impetus. So what normally impetus we have? We don't have any pure impetus. The impetus is to feel happy. So the impetus has to change. So it is the Utaya, the creative impetus, the right impetus, the proper impetus for performing any activity. So what is it? Actually, it is the consciousness. What activity one does perform and how does it depend on others? The person who comes, he performs it differently, but the activity is the same. So where is the difference? The difference is in motivation or impetus. Then Manvantara, the 14 Manus, the changing of the Manus in a day of Brahma. Ishanukatha. Ishanukatha is the science of the Supreme Lord. And particularly, it is Katha written. That means it has to be heard. Ishanukatha, then Nirodha, Mukti and Ashraya. Nirodha is winding up. Winding up means no more birth. That is winding up. That means going home back to Godhead. Shukdev Goswami said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 10 divisions of statement regarding the following: the creation of the universe, sub-creation, planetary systems, protections by the Lord, creative impetus, the change of Manu, the science of God, returning home back to Godhead. It is Nirodha, returning home back to Godhead, Nirodha. Liberation and the sambhosha. Okay. Next verse. Dashamasya vishuddhi artham navanam iha lakshanam varnayati mahatmana shutena arthena chanjasa. So it's talking about the 10th canto. So the 10th canto is the most prominent one because all the Krishna Leelas are mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada writes it as Samam Bonam. To isolate the transcendence of the Samam Bonam, the symptoms of the rest are described sometime by Vedic evidence. So how this Bhagavatam presented? In 3 ways. This beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam is presented in 3 ways. So how they are presented? To isolate the transcendence of the Samam Bonam. So what is there of the Samam Bonam? That is the 10th chapter, the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. To isolate the transcendence. So that means all others are lower. And the highest position is of the Supreme Lord. So to isolate the transcendence of the Samam Bonam, that is the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna with everyone else, the symptoms of the rest are described sometimes by Vedic evidence, sometimes by direct explanation, and sometimes by summary explanation given by these great sages. So how Srimad Bhagavatam is presented? This is being mentioned here in 3 ways. Varnayati. Varnayati means explained. How it is explained? Mahatmana. To the great sages and by the great sages. Srimad Bhagavatam study is not for ordinary people or those who are not alert or aware. It is Varnayati Mahatmana by the great sages. And how they deliver the message of Srimad Bhagavatam? By 3 ways. What is the first way? Shrutena. Shrutena means by Vedic evidences and particularly 3 process of hearing. Then there are two ways to explain it. It is called the Arthena, direct explanation, and Cha Anjasa. Anjasa means, as it is mentioned here, summarily. So, to bring about the glory of the 10th canto, the rest 9 are described to be able to distinguish that how the 10th is completely different. Bhutamatrendriyadhyam janma sarga udhatrita brahmano gina vaishamyad visarga purushasmita. The elementary creation of 16 items of matter. 5 are the gross material, namely the 5 elements: fire, water, earth, air, and sky. Sound, form, taste, smell, touch, and the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, and mind is known as sargaha. So these are the 16 basic elements. So the formation of this is done by the Supreme Lord Himself. Whereas subsequent resultant interaction of the modes of material nature is called visarga. So this is classifying. Prabhupada is classifying what is difference between sarga and visarga. In order to explain the 10 divisional symptoms of Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 7 continuous verses. These are the 7 continuous verses. The first of these under reference pertain to 16 elementary manifestations of earth, water, etc. with material ego composed of material intelligence and mind. The subsequent creation is a result of the reactions of the above mentioned 16 energies of the first Purusha. The Mahavishnu incarnation of Govinda, as later explained by Brahma, is to treat his Brahma Samhita as follows. The first of these under reference pertains to the 16 elementary manifestations of earth, water, fire, air, ether, with material ego, composed of material intelligence and mind. The subsequent creation is a result of the reactions of the above mentioned 16 energies of the first Purusha, the Mahavishnu incarnation of Govinda, as later explained by Brahma in his treatise Brahma Samhita 5.47 as follows. Yat karanarvajale bhajati sma yoga nidram ananta jagadanda saroma kupa adhare shaktim avalambya param samurtim Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. The first Purusha incarnation of Govinda Lord Krishna, known as Mahavishnu, goes into a Yoga Nidra, mystic sleep. And the innumerable universes are situated in potency in each and every air hole of his transcendental body. As mentioned in the previous verse, one must refer to the Vedic conclusion Shutena to understand how the creation is made possible of the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly by manifestation of his particular energies. Without such a Vedic reference, the creation appears to be a product of material nature. This conclusion comes from a poor fund of knowledge. From Vedic reference, it is concluded that the origin of all energies, namely internal, external, and marginal, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as explained here and before, the illusionary conclusion is that the creation is made by the inert material nature. The Vedic conclusion is transcendental light whereas the non-Vedic conclusion is material darkness. The internal potency of the Supreme Lord is identical with the Supreme Lord, and the eternal potency is enlivened in contact with the internal potency. The parts and parcels of the internal potency which reacts in contact with the eternal potency are called the marginal potency of the living entities. To understand this statement, the internal potency of the Supreme Lord is identical with the Supreme Lord. Okay, what is the pramana? On what basis can we say so? What is the evidence? बोलिए. As explained herein before, the illusionary conclusion is that the creation is made by the inert material nature. The Vedic conclusion is transcendental light, whereas the non-Vedic conclusion is material darkness. The internal potency of the Supreme Lord is identical with the Supreme Lord, and the external potency is enlivened in contact with the internal potency. The parts and parcels of the internal potency who reacts in contact with the external potencies are called the marginal potency of the living entities. Thus, the original creation is directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or Brahma, or Param Brahma. So Krishna is Adi Purusha. And the secondary creation is a reactionary result of the original ingredient, is met by Brahma. Then the activity of the whole universe are started. Hare Krishna. I'll read till here only. If there is any question or discussion, please ask. But please memorize this first verse. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atra Sarga Visargascha Sthanam Poshanam Uttaya Manvantara Ishanu Katha Nirodha Muktirashaya. If somebody has appetite, can memorize the next verse also. Visiddhashamasya Vishuddhartham Navanam Iha Lakshanam Varnayati Mahatmana Shrutena Arthena Chanjasa. I will explain what is Shrutena Arthena and Chanjasa later. Okay. No questions? So we will stop here and continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.